How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is 10 Pokemon I am excited to see return in the Crown Tundra DLC. Please take note, these are my own opinions. And this definitely isn't sort of my top 10, because there are quite a bit that I'm excited to see return. These are just 10 random ones I picked. All moves that I talk about in this video are moves that can be learned by the Pokemon either by level up or via a TM. So sit back, relax, and let's get into number 1. Alright, first on our list, we have a Pokemon that I believe deserves a lot of love going into the Crown Tundra, and that Pokemon is Nidoking. Its physical attack stat is definitely its best stat. Overall, the rest of its stats are pretty decent. It also does have a good number of physical attacks that it can pull from. These physical attacks would be moves like Thrash, Mega Horn, Brick Break, Seismic Toss, Dragon Tail, and Thunder Punch. It is weak to 4 types, as you can see on screen. It also resists 6 types, and it takes normal damage from 8 types. So overall, it is a pretty decent mon, and I think for Pokemon Sword and Shield, this mon deserves a lot of love, because I mean, it does have King in its name, and Galar being based off of the UK, Kings and Queens. But hey, at the end of the day, that's just my opinion. I do really like this Pokemon. Alright, taking the number 2 spot, we have probably one of my favorite Ultra Beasts of all time, Stack Attacker. Its defense stats are nothing to scoff at. I mean, it does have pretty decent defense. I mean, that would be expected from a walking fortress. It also has an unreal physical attack stat. But unfortunately, the rest of its stats, in my opinion, definitely lack a bit. But I suppose that is the trade-off, given that it has such good defense stats and a physical attack stat, so kind of balances it out a bit. It definitely has some decent physical moves it can use, moves such as Rock Slide, Iron Head, Double Edge, Earthquake, Brutal Swing, and Stone Edge. Now, type effectiveness. As you can see on screen, it is weak to 3 types, it resists 9 types, and it takes normal damage from 6 types. Now, overall, I think this Ultra Beast is definitely something I'm always going to choose. Not just because I like the design, but yeah, let's move on to the next one. Alright, third up on the list, we have Swampert. Not my favorite Hoenn starter, but I still do really like it. Has a very good HP and physical attack stat. Definitely not the fastest mon out there, but I mean, it compensates in other areas. It compensates for its speed in other areas. Both of its defense stats are pretty decent, and it does get some good physical moves such as Earthquake, Stone Edge, Hammer Arm and Waterfall. I mean, it is weak to only one type, and that would be Grass type. As you can see on the screen, it resists 5 types and it takes normal damage from 12 types. Swampert, pretty decent Pokemon in my opinion. Let's get on to the number 4 spot. Next up, we will be looking at none other than the Gen 2 Bat, Crobat. Now, it's no surprise that everybody hates running into Zubat, but if you can get a Crobat, you definitely give yourself an advantage. I mean, it does have fairly average stats. It definitely, in my opinion, is or works well when it's utilized as a physical attacker, and we can't ignore that unreal speed stat. Some other moves this one can get, physical moves that is, that it can get, is Bite, Poison Fang, Cross Poison, and X Scissor. I don't know if you'd be able to run a special set on Crobat. Maybe it might get some decent moves when the Crown Tundra comes out, who knows. Let's talk type effectiveness. It is weak to 4 types. It resists 6 types, and it takes normal damage from 8 types. So that's pretty balanced in my opinion. Now let's get on to the next one. Halfway through the list we have none other than the Cloudbird Altaria. Had to include a dragon on this list, although Altaria doesn't really look like a dragon, but I do enjoy me a good Altaria every now and then. Overall, its stats are nothing to write home about. They're not awful, but they're not the greatest out there. It does have a pretty high special defense, and I would be a fool not to bring up that it would benefit a lot if it had its Mega, but unfortunately, from what I can see, it doesn't look like we're getting Megas back in the Crown Tundra DLC. That's not to say that it's an impossibility for them to return, but at this point it seems very unlikely. It does have a good move pool of both physical and special attacks. Some good moves it can get are Sky Attack, Dragon Pulse, Moon Blast, Ice Beam, Solar Beam and Earthquake. Type effectiveness, again I think it's very balanced. It's weak to 4 types, resists 6 types, and takes normal damage from 8 types. Now, kicking off the second part of this list, we have one of my favorite legendaries that come from one of my favorite legendary trios, and that is the electric legendary beast, Riku. I just love the way Riku is designed. Overall, average physical stats, but it has good special stats, which you would expect from an electric type one, because there's not much out there for you to build a physical electric one, which I do think needs to change in the Crown Tundra. We need more physical electric moves to build good physical attacking electric types. Definitely has some amazing special moves to complement its special attack. It gets moves like Extra Sensory, Thunderbolt, Discharge, Shadow Ball, Thunder, bit of an unconventional one, but it also gets Snarl. It is weak to only one type, it resists 3 types, and it takes normal damage from 14 types. Now, I do think that Riku needs some love, and like all the legendary beasts, I think they do need some love, and I think they need a secondary stat. Well, not secondary stat, secondary typing. But yeah, that was Riku. Let's get on to the number 7 spot. Now in the number 7 spot, we have another legendary Pokemon, and we can't mention Riku without mentioning the Pokemon that gave it life. And I'm talking about HoHo. HoHo has always been my favorite Gen 2 box legendary. I know there are a lot of Lugia lovers out there, but unfortunately I don't fit that description. HoHo definitely has impressive physical and special stats. However, it does have an average speed stat and average defense stats, which sort of balances it out a bit. Some pretty decent moves to take full advantage of both its physical and special attack stats. Definitely is going to see a lot of usage from me in the Crown Tundra. Some of the moves it gets: Brave Bird, Extra Sensory, Fire Blast, Sacred Fire, Punishment, Future Sight, Sky Attack, and Thunder. Type effectiveness: it's weak to 3 types, resists 7 types, and takes normal damage from 8 types, which a little bit unbalanced on its resists, on what types it resists, but it is a legendary after all. Taking the number 8 spot, we have one of my favorite fossil Pokemon. It's from Gen 6, and it's Tyrantrum. I mean, who doesn't love a good T-Rex? Physical stats are through the roof. Mediocre, it's got sort of mediocre special stats, but it's also got sort of an average speed and HP stat. It does have an impressive physical move pool to take advantage of that high physical attack stat. Moves it can get are moves like Rock Slide, Thrash, Head Smash, Earthquake, Bite, and Dragon Tail. Definitely another mon that's going to see a lot of usage from me in the Crown Tundra, and I am interested to see if we'll see maybe its pre-evolution Tyrant roaming around, or if we see Tyrantrum itself roaming around, or if there'll be another digging duo that's able to dig up the returning fossils and then we take it back to Star's side to have them revived. Type effectiveness: it's weak against 6 types, not the greatest. It resists 5 types and it takes normal damage from 7 types. Being weak to 6 types does definitely leave you wide open, but I feel like it'll be a good mon nonetheless. Second to last on this list, we have none other than Metagross. Metagross is one of my favorite pseudo-legendaries, and it always has been. I started with Pokemon Emerald, and as soon as I saw Metagross, or the whole line in fact, I just fell in love with it. So I just had to put it on this list. As we know, it has an unreal physical attack and physical defense stat. It's got fairly decent special stats. It does seem like it could be a good wall, well, not so much a wall, but a good defense, or have a good defense against physical attackers. However, it does have the potential to be very frail to special attackers. Does have an impressive pool of physical moves to choose from to take full advantage of that physical attack stat. It's got and will get moves such as Hammer Arm, Meteor Mash, Bullet Punch, Earthquake, Zen Headbutt, and Rock Slide. Metagross is weak to 4 types, it resists 10 types, and it takes normal damage from 4 types, which in my opinion is just unreal. So it's definitely going to be a good mon going into the Crown Tundra. And here we are at the last spot for these 10 Pokemon. Now this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention one of the mascots of this channel, that being Sceptile. Sceptile will always hold a special place in my heart, as Riku was the first starter I ever chose. Sceptile has a phenomenal speed and special attack stat. It's decent in attack and special defense. Not something to really boast about. It is overall kind of a frail mon. Going into Crown Tundra, I mean, grass is weak to ice, and I assume we're going to see a lot of ice types roaming around. A lot of trainers might have ice types. It's good for outspeeding a good number of mons. I mean, there are only a handful of Pokemon that can match its speed. Despite having an impressive attack stat, there is a significant, a special attack stat. There is a significant lack of special moves. The special moves it does get are moves like Leaf Storm, Focus Blast, Mega Drain, and Solar Beam, which aren't too bad, but there are some good physical moves that it gets. Moves like Dual Chop, Aerial Ace, X-Scissor, and Earthquake. Dual Chop I'm not really sold on. I haven't really used it much. Type effectiveness. It's weak against 5 types. It resists 4 types, and it takes normal damage from 9 types. A little bit on the unbalanced side, but I feel like Sceptile will be able to pull through in the Crown Tundra. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy my first attempt at sort of a top 10 style video. Of course, again, this isn't the top 10 Pokemon I want to see in the Crown Tundra. This is simply just 10 Pokemon I'm excited to see. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it, feel free to dislike the video. Leave a comment of what Pokemon you're looking forward to seeing in the Crown Tundra. And on that note, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing what you guys put in the comments. Have a good one.